lay by my side. I'll keep you safe and warm through the night. I'll find a way to make it alright when no one else can. I'll be there. I'd go anywhere, anywhere you go. If it's to the top or it's to the bottom of this wicked world, choice is mine to make.
Peace, 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 peace. Yes, it's Mama. Oh, the air smells so good. What a beautiful day. As always, it's beautiful. Mine. It's so wonderful to be with you today. Again, my daughters, Mama, as you know, love being with you. Whether it's a moment, a minute, an hour, I enjoy every moment. So what are we going to talk about today? Let's see. We're going to be on the subjects of parenting, mother, creation. Being here in Rwanda, it feels so good. Creation. I feel creation all around me on the continent of Africa. I feel creation all around me every day. I'm so blessed, and you're probably tired of hearing me say this, but I love being here. Creation. Feminine, the masculine, the two. Did you know that the two are actually twins? And like twins, when they're born, they can never come together. One has to come before the other. And like twins in creation, you have the feminine and the masculine. Did you know each time you have a child, you give birth, you're actually giving birth to twins? Did you know that? As I've told you, one, what do we say? Freedom of choice. Angel on one shoulder, the devil on the other, Satan, ego. Ego is a more modern term for Satan. Satan's more, and demons more of the ancient explanation of the spirit. That's the ancient explanation of it. Because the ancients did not quite know, or I shouldn't say they didn't know, they was quite intelligent people. They just didn't look at it like we look at it in the more modern times. We don't look at demons as being a threat to us. The devil has been a threat to us when we find out and learn who devil and demons are. Devils and demons are the ego. That's all. And when we look at the terminology of ego, we're not fearful of it at all. We know what it is. It's like a little 2-year-old child that runs around and gets away, get out of hand. You're trying to catch up with it. You're trying to keep it intact. You have the spiritual, and then you have the material. One is really God over the material, and one is really master God over the physical, or should I say spiritual. They come together in twos. Everything comes in twos. Remember that. Everything comes in twos. So when we become impregnated with a child, we're bringing forth what? The physical, the manifestation of these two twins that's going to be born. Spiritual and the material or physical. We have two twins that's going to be born via the physical body. But remember what I said. The devil, ego, The spiritual, God, cannot live exterior. The hostess, it has to have a hostess, a body to live in. Neither can live exterior, the body. It has to have a hostess to live in. So, this is what we do. We come here on this, how should I say, planet, how should I say, into this realm of existence. We have to have a host, a body. The spirit cannot live exterior to the body, and even the ego cannot live exterior to the body. It has to have a host in order to maintain a shape. The spiritual is not tangible. You can't feel it, you can't see it, can't do anything. It has to have a skeleton of a host in order to exist. Don't want to lose you now. I don't want to lose you. We don't want to go and have the mind, I don't want to spend the mind out and get you on a spiritual, or should I say a spooky realm. Everything is real. Everything is tangible. The spirit has to have a tangible. If it's not tangible, there's no shape. Remember that. I don't want to lose you now. So we just leave that at that, and we just go on over to another conversation for now. I don't want to lose you. As I said, when you have a baby, you're actually having twins. A dual two. Spiritual and the physical. We're going to leave it at that for right now. We're going to go to another conversation. On the same conversation, we're going to just veer a little bit away from that, because I don't want to lose you right now until you can get a better understanding of the things that I say and explain to you. So for now, we'll just leave that alone, okay? We're going to talk about something else. You know, I wasn't going to say anything, but you know, the goddess came to me and said, no, speak to them now and let your daughters know what's on your mind. And this is what I want to say or add to my message. And that is, us mothers, when we bring a life into this world, we're always just so concerned about the child being born perfect. First thing in our mind, I think one of the biggest things we fear is our child being born handicapped, something wrong with them, maybe missing a toe or a finger or arm or a hand. I think that's one thought that's really a nightmare thought to the average mother. But what we haven't thought about into consideration, I want to say, maybe we haven't noticed, but I think we noticed, but it's such a fearful thing, we just don't want to think about it. And that is our children when they come here. Us doing the best we can do to make the very best mothers to our babies. We want to give it the best chance in this life to lead a good, normal, strong, God-fearing life. What we don't think about is once the child come here, once it's born, and we think about, oh, let me look at my baby. I want to make sure she's perfect. Let me count her fingers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on each hand. Let me count the toes. Oh, then we do a big sigh of relief, because we think, oh, has all fingers, all toes. She's so beautiful. He's so beautiful. He or she is just perfect. A perfect, beautiful baby. And it does be. And yeah, I would say that the average one, every mother thinks is perfectly beautiful. But what we don't think about is we think about protecting it to the best of our ability, trying to figure out how we can raise it the best we can, and all we don't know, we go and we ask grandma, grandpa for advice. We run into problems. But the thing we don't think about is what I mentioned in my very first video. If you get a moment, go and just take a moment and just listen to my very first video when we spoke about Satan, the devil, demons, because we're born, as I said before, we're born with freedom of choice. Angel on one shoulder, the devil on the other. Those elements are there. We're born with them. The God Spirit always show itself first because God's Spirit, creation was here before the devil spirit, demon spirit, or whatever you want to call it. Some people call it contrary spirit. It's all the same. That spirit don't surface for 2, 3, 4 years. When it's beginning to, I guess, develop, you know when it's beginning to develop. It usually begins to develop around the terrible twos, around the age of 2. When the child has become very energetic and just want to do everything, and you're calling them, come back, sit down, come here. Do you hear me talking to you? That's around the time those two spirits are beginning to come together, and the child begins to recognize that second contrary spirit. In the beginning, when the baby's born, newborn, it's so beautiful. You see it, you watch it sleep. They're so peaceful when they're sleeping. They're little angels, and they really are. In that moment, stage, they are really, truly little angels because they only have the one mind. The second mind has not kicked in, which is what? The mind of freedom of choice. It's only born with the one mind because the second mind has not developed yet, the contrary mind. But it's on its way. And it usually begins to show its face around 2.5, 3 years old, 4, in there. The contrary spirit. As I said to you before, we're born with two spirits in that freedom of choice. Angel on one shoulder and God on the other. We're born with both those spirits. And we must learn to deal with them, to prepare for them, to train, tame them. The first spirit, which is the creative spirit, the God spirit, it's easy to deal with that one. That's the one when you tell the little baby, oh, come give mommy a hug. He loves hugging mommy. He loves giving mommy a kiss. He loves it. He loves just laying on mama's shoulder. He loves when mommy breastfeeds him. That's the creation spirit. But that contrary spirit comes along, which is what? Freedom of choice. In the beginning, the baby is living on what? Instinct. I'm hungry. When he sees mom, he sees food. He sees care. He sees and feels love. He feels kisses. He just feels so secure. But when that contrary spirit kicks in, which has to do with freedom of choice. And we'll talk about that hopefully one day in the next week or two. We'll talk about that more. The freedom of choice spirit that's born within us, that's created within us. As we develop and grow up out of self, so does it. And we've been warned and advised in the Bible, Holy Quran, all the holy books of how to handle that contrary spirit. It's very important that we learn how to handle and train that contrary spirit. Now, when that spirit kicks in, mothers never happy to meet that spirit. When it comes out of the child's mind, when they begin to tell you, no, you do it. If you say, well, come here. No, I'm not coming. You don't feel too good inside. But we love the child so we don't want to train the child. We don't want to hurt the child. We don't want to hurt his feelings. We don't want to spank him. As the law say, don't spank him. But when I came along, I'm 70 years young. Mama's 70 years young. When I came along, back in those days, my mother and my aunties and even the lady next door would say to me, come here. You come here right now. If my mother was not around, they would say, you come here right now. Come here to me. And we were so obedient, most time we'll come and we'll kind of look and say, yes, ma'am. Didn't your mother tell you don't do this or that? Yes, ma'am. And what do? Oh, we think, oh my God. Number one, we know the next door neighbor's going to spank the little legs. But even more so than them spanking their little legs, we're afraid of the neighbor telling mom. So the neighbor will get us and say, come here. And spank those little legs, and we'll start crying, and at the same time hope she don't tell mom. Because we're going to get a second whipping, and a third, and a fourth. But in those days, and this is my opinion, because I agree with the good book, the Bible, and other holy books. We got those spankings. We grew up, we didn't hate our parents behind it. In fact, it made us love mama, and love dad, and love uncle, and love auntie even more. So, in the Bible, when it says, if you spare the rod, you spoil the child, it has to have a good meaning behind it because it worked. And it's something that the ancients learned over a period of thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And they began to pass these lessons down because they knew if you spoil the child, it's because you spared the rod. And it was one rule. Now, I'm not saying go spank your child. I'm just saying what happened to me. I'm 70 years old. What happened to me 50 years ago, 55 years ago, 60 years ago. And back then, it's funny because when it came to the children who got the rod or the spanking, they were the one who made the good men. They went out to cut the wood and to build the fire in the fireplace for mama and go and work hard to build mama a house. The sons did. Those were the good men. You think it's related somehow? Just want to give the wombs, the thinking womb, something to think about. Something to think about. But the point I wanted to add was, you want this child to be special other than having all 10 fingers and 10 toes. You want your child to be born perfect. But at the same time, we got to think, what other measurements need I take to have a special child or a beautiful child when he turns 10, 12, 15? I want my baby to still be beautiful. My son to be something some woman wants for a husband, for a dad. Something's missing. Food for thought for those thinking wombs. That's all Mama wanted to add. Thinking wombs. Think about it. Think about it. And I have some more information I'd like to give you too on the woman and how we was and we did cause civilization to fall, humanity to fall. And it has something to do, as I said, we did not feed the apple. We did not have Adam to bite the apple. We fed it to him. I want you to make the connections. How do we feed that apple to Adam? Think about it. Yes, it has something to do with the child being in the womb. When it came here, us teaching the child, we are humanity's first nurse, the first teacher. And when we don't give the right or the proper instructions on that child when it comes out of our wombs, and we rock it in our arms, and when we are breastfeeding our babies, we're teaching, it's learning every minute, every moment. When we smile, that baby's looking up at our smile as we smile. As he breastfeeds, he's learning everything from us. Everything. We dropped the ball somewhere. Thinking wombs. Think about it. I hope I've given you something to think about. And we will go further in our next conversation on us being the cause of the fall of humanity. We dropped the ball. Didn't do it deliberately. We didn't realize we had done it. Going through this life of being human, we go through stages of learning about mistakes. We go through stages of learning about how to correct the mistakes we make with our children. Now, remember now what I said. We don't play with crayons. It's not about color or hue. We're past that now. It's only one human race. Only one human race. Giving the wombs, the thinking wombs, something to think about. Until next time, Mama always enjoy hear from you. Make sure you leave a comment, please. I want to know what you're thinking. And please don't forget to subscribe. Mama have a lot, I feel, to share. A lot that I know and have learned throughout life, just in this season life. Don't know a lot now. I know a little bit that I would just love to share with you. Until then, thinking wombs, please think. Because our children's lives and the future of this planet depends upon it. Until then, thank you for listening to my few words. I'm so honored that you want to even entertaining my words this long. Until then, next time, come and watch Mama. I promise you, you won't have not one dull moment. And we'll talk more on how the woman, we, us, caused the fall of civilization. Because we did. We did. Till then.
And which one is the white doll? That one. Which doll is the pretty doll? Which doll is the nice doll? Which doll is the bad doll? Which doll is the nice doll? And which doll is the bad doll? And why is that doll pretty?
Because she's white and he has 2 eyes.
Which doll is the ugly doll? Why is that doll ugly?
Because he's black.
Which doll looks most like you?
Like me?
Yeah, which one looks like you?
And that one.
Okay.